Welcome to Our College, Your Voices. I'm your host, Kara Monroe. Today, I'm excited to be talking with the three officers of the statewide Faculty Council about what the Faculty Council's work is, how they're doing their work generally, but also because this is an episode we're recording while we're all working from home during COVID-19, a little bit about how they're doing their work during COVID-19 and some of the things that are on the horizon for them over the next year. So with that, I'm going to have our panel introduce themselves, and I'm going to start with Jen Schaefer. Hi, Jen.
Hi, Kara. I'm Jen Schaefer. I am the Department Chair of Criminal Justice and Legal Studies from the Evansville campus, and I am currently the chair of the statewide Faculty Council.
Excellent. Welcome. It's great to have you here today. And then I'm going to go to Tom Jester. Hi, Tom.
Hello. Yeah, I'm the vice chair for the State Faculty Council. I'm from the Marion campus, and I am the chair for Art, Sciences, and Education, and I teach English and some communications.
Excellent. And then Leanne Recton. Hi, Leanne.
Hi, I'm Leanne Recton. I'm from the Lawrenceburg Batesville service area, and I'm the program chair of communication, I guess technically department chair of general studies as well. And I am the secretary of the statewide faculty council, sometimes also the treasurer if you ask Jen.
Excellent. And so thank you all. It's good to have you here together. It's good to see your faces, even though we're doing it through the surfaces of our computers. And again, just a reminder, we're doing the very best we can with sound quality during the COVID-19 episodes, but you may hear beeps and things like that from computers, and kids might come in too. So those are just the things that happen now in our everyday worlds. So I'd like you guys to start with just give us a little history of Faculty Council, because this is actually the first episode that we've had a Faculty Council to just talk about council. We've talked about a little bit about some of the projects, but not to just talk about council. So give us a little bit of the origin story.
So the Faculty Council in Evansville has been on the scene for quite a few years, and it was a great way to really forge those relationships between the faculty and the administration. And so we were really excited when I believe Dr. Ellspermann and Dr. Monroe announced that we would be having a statewide faculty council so that faculty could play a bigger role in the shared governance process with both at the statewide level and also at our local campus levels. So it was a really exciting project, and I'm just really, really glad to be a part of it. It's very exciting.
We had a little bit of a different approach in our service area because we're really small. So we did not have any kind of faculty governance at all prior to statewide faculty council starting because we didn't so much see a need for it. But because we have statewide faculty council, we actually now have a local council, and that's been really nice to formalize the process a bit. So we do have meetings at least once a semester, and we get together and talk about things that we probably talked about really informally before, but now we have a chance to do that. And being part of statewide faculty council has been nice because it really creates more consistency across the campuses in terms of what faculty are doing, different policies. We're able to bounce ideas off of each other, and then we can bring that back to our local councils. So that's been very beneficial, I think, with something that we just did not have before.
As far as the history, Jen is actually only the second chair for State Faculty Council. I want to mention Emily Bobo, who was the first chair and did a great job of blazing trails and getting things into practice. But I think Jen could tell you that we're still learning and figuring this out and coming across new methods and ideas every day, or she is, because I know she's really busy with this.
And I'd add in there that Dr. Tincher actually was the one who started. So it preceded me just a bit. And then Gwen Eldridge also was a chair too. So we did have a chair before that. She was the inaugural chair. So, but otherwise, okay. Yeah, that was a great history. You guys got into a little bit of the second question I had for you, but I'd love for you to dig into it just a little bit more around how do your campus councils interact with the statewide council? And I know that you have this conversation with your counterparts as well around the state. Are there examples that you've seen that we might need to share with folks from your colleagues that are also on council?
I saw Jen say, go ahead, Leanne. So we have, as I mentioned before, we had not really had a faculty council prior to, but there are many campuses across the state that have had a governance for a while and have been kind of formalized. And one of the things that's been really interesting to see is how they come together and some of the documents that they create. So for example, at the Sellersburg campus, they created a really nice, robust document surrounding calendar expectations and kind of what they envision for the statewide calendar. And we were able as a faculty council statewide to take a look at that and adopt it and say, oh, we really want to get behind this. So it's been nice to be able to vet things that are either maybe not that big of a deal everywhere, like it might be a big deal on one campus and then they take it to faculty council and we're kind of like, no, not really seeing this. And then the opposite has also occurred. So we have some people who are like, this might just be at my campus, and then they bring it forward and we notice, no, it's not just your campus, it's kind of happening everywhere, and let's create some alignment behind this and get together and push it forward to be able to advance whatever that situation might be. And we'll probably share some examples of those things, I would imagine.
I feel like I'm still somewhat of a newcomer to the whole faculty council idea because I was not involved very much originally on our campus in Marion. When I took over as a representative in Marion and attended a few meetings at the state, I began to see how faculty council could work for the local campuses and the lines of communication that have been open. And I feel like I'm not the only campus. I feel like other campuses have learned that you can not just get information from the state, but take information from your campus to the state. And it's becoming bigger and more inclusive all the time.
I think that the faculty council from the Evansville perspective, because we have had such a long history of having a local faculty council, I think it's created a space for collegiality, for faculty to really learn who they work with, the great ideas that they bring to the table, new ideas and how to teach and how to offer things, what we can do together. And I think it's a great, exciting space for faculty to be in, to feel like they have a voice. It's been amazing to be offered a place at the table as far as the faculty is concerned. And I love the working relationships that we've created, not only amongst ourselves on our faculty, but together as a statewide faculty council and together as a council with the administration.
And I want to echo that because I really see faculty council, and I know if President Ellspermann were on here, she would say this too. We see you as partners, and we really welcome the advice and the guidance that you provide. And it's gratifying to me when I hear other administrators ask, has faculty council had a chance to weigh in on this and have they looked at it? So I really do appreciate that partnership. It's one of the most gratifying things that I've seen at Ivy Tech in my 20 years. So we talked a little bit about some of the projects that you've worked on, and I'd love to dig into that. So tell me what you're proudest of that you have worked on or are working on at the moment.
The first thing that comes to mind for me is the change in the policy for sick time and faculty leave time. That happened fairly quickly and something that people had been talking about for a long time. And once it got to faculty council, thanks to Kara, this got handled and changed fairly quickly.
And thanks to Julie Lurton-Rowland and the HR team and the IT team. Yeah, absolutely. And you all bring it forward, definitely.
I think that one of the things that the statewide faculty council can be most proud of is just how we work together as a council. We have tackled a lot of projects, a lot of different policy initiatives that have come forward. And we really like to have a voice in unison before we move forward and say, if we all want to be on the same page. We all want to be able to bring this to our local campuses as well as to the statewide campuses, statewide. But just some of the initiatives, some of the best practices, how we communicate with our local administration and statewide administration that Emily Bobo brought forward a document that we accepted right away because it was just a great path forward. The same thing with Anthony Sams in Sellersburg with the calendar, bringing that initiative forward, and we're still in the process of making that happen. And several other things that I think we could not do this if it was not in unison, if we were not working as a collective. And I think that is what makes this part so exciting for us.
Yeah, and I'll echo what Jen said, because I was thinking the same thing. I think it's easy to think that because we're on statewide faculty council, like we all agree, or we all, we see things the same way, but we have come into some conflicts and some things that have come up that we just didn't have. It's just like all groups that work together. Sometimes things come up and you don't have a norm and you go, oh, wait, maybe we need a little bit of a guideline around this. So that came up with having extra meetings in the month because we just don't have time to get through everything. And so we kind of had to say, okay, here's how we did it this time. And if we are going to move forward and do it again, what changes are we going to make? So we're learning along the way. I think that's really important. We respect each other. We're very candid with each other. We might say, I see where you're coming from, but my campus doesn't see it like that. Because we are representing the rest of the faculty on our campus, which is not easy. We have to take into consideration faculty that we might not work with every single day. And we might not have time to take everything back to hear all of the voices on our campuses. So that's really important that we take that seriously, that we're representing the voice of everyone. And I would also share that we had a situation recently where we were approached about expediting Ivy Online to summer. And right away, when that was brought forth, we said, no, we're not comfortable with that. And here's why. And I know at our campus level, we talked about that, and we were kind of given accolades for, as a statewide faculty council, saying no to that. So that was nice to see. Like Jen talked about, sometimes we have these dotted lines. We're reporting to our campuses, and we're kind of essentially reporting statewide as well. And it's good to see that we are supported in both situations as often as we can be.
Very good. So talk a little bit about how you do your work as a council. You've talked about meetings and frequency of meetings and those sorts of things. So there was a conversation, I don't remember, last week where somebody was like, well, faculty council had a meeting, Kara, don't you know about it? I'm like, I don't know about all their meetings. I'm not invited to all of them. And that's completely the way it should be. So talk a little bit about how you're meeting, and then talk a little bit about what has changed in a COVID-19 world for you all in terms of how you're doing your work.
Well, I usually schedule a monthly meeting and just ask the faculty council representatives to weigh in on, what works best for everyone. We were on the struggle bus for a very long time trying to figure out Zoom, where we were actually limited to 40-minute meetings at one time, and we kept having to hop back on. And man, when I became a Zoom Pro user, it was like the world changed. So we have a lot of Zoom meetings. We would love to be able to meet more face-to-face, but unfortunately that has not worked out in our COVID-19 world. But yeah, we meet, we talk about things, we have subcommittees that meet, and then we bring it back to the entire council. And it's great because we all get to see each other's faces and spaces and workplaces, and it feels like you get to know people on a little bit better of a level than just being on a conference call. You see the facial expressions. You can definitely tell with some people when something's amiss and we need to stick a pin in that and come back to it later. But yeah, it's been great getting to know each other and getting to know each other's work and what people are passionate about and what their campus is passionate about, because you kind of have a feeling like, I know if I want to find a best practice for faculty morale, I'm going to go to Leanne every single day because her campus is winning the war against low faculty morale. So it's just kind of exciting to be able to have that across campuses and know that we together are working as one college instead of all these separate campuses.
Yeah, we actually, on that note, Jen, we just got something from HR that we're having coffee hour time and happy hours virtually through Zoom. So I'm waiting for the wine to show up at the door. But we do meet every month, as Jen said, with Statewide Faculty Council, and that is usually about 2 hours. And Jen will try as much as she can to get us the agenda ahead of time. But sometimes that's coming as the meeting is happening. So, and then we have guests who are scheduled, and sometimes they don't get to come on right when they are scheduled to come on. So that's a little bit, learning as you're going. But it's nice to be intentional. We were starting to be really intentional, and then of course our current situation has made us be a little bit less intentional. And now we're just kind of coming to the table with things as we are asked to. And I think we're starting to work on a plan moving forward. But like Jen said, it's been really nice to connect virtually and to maintain that. And then I type up the notes and get them out to everybody. That's one of my jobs. And that goes into Ivy Learn. But now we have Microsoft Teams, and we have all kinds of ways to connect now. So it's been really nice.
So as you guys think about what's coming in the future for council, what's on your radar screen that you'd like to tackle next?
I think there's a few topics that are kind of ongoing. Faculty loading discussion and best practices with 8-week courses. The question of, eventually on-campus presence across the state with different campuses, and I believe that we're still working with the academic freedom statement, right? We still have people working on that.
I would just add that the calendar is a huge project that we're attempting to tackle right now. Different policies that have come forward, incomplete policy, grade modification policy. We're also looking at a lot of data from Ivy Online, trying to clear up some questions that we had about a possible transition to from 16 to all 8 week. And then really trying to look at the campuses individually, but how we can be more unified as one, not only in our campus presence, but also our teaching loads, what's required of our faculty councils. I am the queen of Google Docs, and so I'd like to create a Google Doc for everything, and that way we can all compare campus to campus, and it allows us to get a more unified plan before we come together and say, hey, maybe this is something that we should look into, so we're all held to the same kind of standards. So it's great. It's nice to be able to look at those projects and think, that we're making some headway as far as faculty is concerned.
When we were talking about connection, something I thought of that I want to come back to as a question is part of the goal of faculty council at a statewide level is to make sure that we have faculty voice in our decision-making processes. And so part of that is through making sure that faculty are in the rooms where decisions get made. So I know by virtue of being chair of statewide faculty council, Jen sits on CIOC meetings. And I know at campuses that differs in terms of how you interact with campuses. But I'd like to know about how that's working and how it could get better.
On our campus, I am part of cabinet. I'm included in cabinet meetings. Now those are the formalized meetings. So I have not been a part of the daily discussions right now with COVID-19, and I'm fine with that. So we definitely have a seat at the table on our campus, and anytime we have a local meeting and a statewide meeting, I will go back to our chancellor and vice chancellor of academic affairs, and we'll meet and talk about some things that have come up. They've been very receptive to a lot of the concerns and questions that we've had. One of the funny things that was an issue on our campus was storage for faculty. And we brought that up and they gave us a storage room back. And so it was like, yeah, we have a voice. And so that's been nice. And I would say that that's the representation that we've had on our campus.
All right. Well, I do put that out as the model. And Jen, were you going to jump in?
Yeah, actually, I was going to say that it differs from campus to campus how much the faculty council leadership has a role with the local administration cabinet and things like that. I think that the most important thing that a statewide faculty council rep can do, as well as a local faculty council chair, if they are not one and the same person, is to forge that relationship with your local leadership to make sure that there is communication. Because sometimes it's easy to accidentally leave a person off of the call or leave a person off of the email or, forget to invite somebody because it just hasn't become common practice yet. So I think that in instances like that, it's up to the faculty council representatives to come forward and say, this is what we would like to see. How can we work together to make that happen? And it allows the administration to make those choices to bring faculty into the picture. So I think that it's important for future faculty council representatives as well as future statewide faculty council representatives to continue that communication piece.
Absolutely. And I will just say publicly here, you all have given me so much grace when I don't remember to include you in something. And you've just been so kind to take that and just realize it is a muscle we're learning how to flex. And it's not one that we've always done. So I just appreciate and want to publicly recognize that grace. So I always ask this in formal recording sessions, and we usually sort of quietly figure out if there are questions I should pose. But in these Zoom days, we've just been doing it as an open question. Are there other things you just want to make sure that folks know about the work that Faculty Council is doing as we wrap up today's episode?
I would just say that we rely on faculty to be a part of this. We need faculty at the table. We need faculty to step up and say, hey, this is something that I want to be a part of. I know in different ways, faculty get frustrated because they think that changes aren't being made for their benefit or changes aren't being made fast enough. But I promise you that if you bring an issue forward, we are not going to let that fall by the wayside. We will circle back around to it, even if it takes some time to do this. We are not always on a very quick timeline because it takes a lot of work to make all these people come to the table at the same time.
I would add that I think it's really important that all faculty recognize that they're a part of this. This is not just full-time faculty. So adjunct faculty have a voice on faculty council also, and we really want to see a bit more of that presence. So when there are meetings locally, please, adjunct faculty, make sure that you're attending those or you're sending in notes or questions. And even statewide faculty council, we have adjunct representation. So we really value that. And we just want to make sure that every faculty member knows, even if you just teach one class one time a year, you are part of statewide faculty council and faculty council at your local campus.
I can't add to that. They said it all. That was fantastic. Well done.
It was. Well done. Excellent. So as we wrap up today's episode, we end every episode with a call to action. And I think it is what Leanne and Jen just shared there, which is to get involved. Faculty counselors are only able to represent those who communicate with them and those who engage with them. So get to know your local faculty council rep and bring issues forward so that we can continue to work collaboratively on trying to make Ivy Tech a great place to work for everyone, because that's all of our shared goal. I want to thank the members of Faculty Council today for joining me on the panel. Jen Schaefer, Tom Chester, and Leanne Recton. Thank you all for joining us today. It was great to chat with you and to just see your faces. I miss you guys. I'm your host, Kara Monroe. You can connect with me on Twitter at KNM Tweets. You can reach us by email at ourcollegeyourvoices@ivytech.edu. Don't forget that you can leave us a voicemail at 317-572-5049. If you're inside the Ivy Tech faculty and staff community, you can join our Microsoft Teams listener community. I'm providing instructions every Tuesday and Thursday in an email about how to join communities. So if you're not sure how to do that, just follow the instructions in one of those emails. Our website is www.ivytech.edu/podcast. Production assistance for this and every episode provided by Becky Campbell, Sarah Ferguson, and the Ivy Tech Community College marketing team. And our podcast concept is by Matthew Pittman. Theme music and our post-production services are still provided by the amazing Jen Edds at the Brassy Broadcasting Company. And I cannot wait until we're back recording with her live and in person. But until then, we will talk to you next time at Our College, Your Voices.